Tonight, WWE presents a brand new episode of WWE Friday Night SmackDown on USA Network in the United States and streaming live on Netflix internationally. The show is set to take place from the Mullet Arena in Tempe, Arizona. And as we get closer to an upcoming episode of Saturday Night's Main Event on November 1st and Survivor Series War Games taking place later on next month, does Paul Triple H Levesque and his creative team have some major surprises planned for tonight's episode of The Blue Brand? In this video, we're going to let you know 5 possible major surprises that could take place tonight live on Friday Night SmackDown. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. And tonight, it's Friday, which means another episode of WWE Friday Night SmackDown. Tonight, the show will be airing live from the Mullet Arena in Tempe, Arizona. And we're getting closer and closer to WWE Saturday Night's Main Event on November 1st, where we're going to see new champions be crowned, major titles be defended. And of course, later on next month, we've also got Survivor Series, which is the setting for War Games. So as we get closer to those major events, could we have some major surprises planned? Certainly, if Paul Triple H Levesque and his creative team has something to say about it. Let's get into 5 possible major surprises that could take place live tonight on SmackDown, beginning with Jacob Fatu. Are we going to find out just what happened to Jacob Fatu? Now, going into last week's show, I actually mentioned on last week's SmackDown surprise video that we likely were going to get the Samoan Werewolf be written off WWE television. Why was that going to happen? Well, of course, because it had been reported in the build-up to last Friday's show that Fatu was sidelined with a non-wrestling related injury. That's what it was called initially, and he'd be out of action well into 2026. It was later then reported that actually Fatu had some kind of dental injury and he was telling people that he was going to be out of action for maybe 1-2 months. So maybe we see a situation where the former United States champion is kept off of television until maybe the beginning, early stages of next year. Or perhaps WWE waits and holds off until the Royal Rumble and then we see Fatu make his return at the Rumble. Heck, maybe even wins the match. Maybe even wins the thing and challenges for a world championship at WrestleMania. But that's thinking several steps ahead. Now, of course, as I mentioned, last week there was going to be a number 1 contenders match for the WWE Championship between Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu. That was scheduled for the show. Everyone knew it was kind of up for debate whether it was going to happen because of Fatu's injury status, but he was attacked backstage mysteriously by someone that's yet to be revealed. Now, Drew McIntyre himself, who had been feuding with Jacob Fatu and of course was going to be facing him in that number 1 contenders match, has denied having anything to do with the assault on Jacob Fatu. So far, McIntyre sticking with the fact of, I had nothing to do with it. I had nothing to do with it. It wasn't me. Now, sometimes you can kind of go in different directions, can't you? The most obvious answer can be, it was Drew McIntyre. He's just denying it. Eventually, Jacob Fatu is going to return. He's going to attack Drew McIntyre and they're going to be feuding in 2026. Or sometimes the reality is that maybe it is someone else. Maybe it is setting up something else. We saw a kind of similar situation, didn't we? With Jade Cargill earlier this year. Well, last year she was written off television with a mystery attack angle. Everyone assumed that it was the Judgment Day, but it wasn't. It was Naomi who attacked Jade Cargill instead. And when she returned, she went after Naomi, despite the fact that it looked like she was going to be going after Liv Morgan. So we could maybe have a similar situation with Jacob Fatu. Could we see maybe an indication or a clue as early as tonight's SmackDown about whether or not Fatu knows who he was attacked by, or there's any information on who attacked Jacob Fatu? We'll have to wait and see. Maybe we'll even get a bit of an injury update suggesting that, again, he's going to be out of action well into 2026. But who knows? Maybe we'll find out tonight that indeed it was McIntyre or maybe someone else who attacked the former United States champion. We'll have to wait and see. Now, a reminder before we move on to the next name on this countdown list, this video is brought to you in collaboration with all of our great affiliates. That includes NordVPN. You can see them right there. You can scan that QR code. You can use our custom link, which is nordvpn.com/WN365. That's nordvpn.com/WN365. If you're in the United States, you can get up to 77% off plus 3 months extra. But don't think if you're anywhere else around the world, you're excluded, because you can also save a lot of money and get a lot of months extra free. All you've got to do is use our link. You can save yourself some money. You can support the channel in the process. And most importantly, when it comes to WWE, you can watch all of your WWE programming through one Netflix subscription. All you have to do is change your location through a VPN, like NordVPN, change your location to an international territory, like here in the UK. Then that means when you log on to Netflix, if you've got yourself saying that you're in the UK, you can watch Raw, SmackDown, NXT, WWE main roster PLEs, NXT PLEs, including Halloween Havoc this weekend. You can watch archive content. You can also, this isn't on Netflix, but you can also watch Saturday night's main event on November 1st. We're going to crown a new World Heavyweight Champion, Jey Uso or CM Punk. Also, Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. And John Cena's retirement match in December for free on YouTube. That's right, if you're in the United States, you don't need a Peacock subscription. You just can log on to YouTube, change your location to here in the UK, and there you go, you save yourself some money. So save yourself some money, support Wrestling News 365 in the process. Your support is greatly appreciated. Next up, that could happen tonight on SmackDown. I think we're going to get more developments when it comes to Carmelo Hayes and his former tag team partner now, The Miz. Now, we've seen a couple of situations, haven't we? This kind of all centers around Sami Zayn's United States Championship Open Challenge. We've seen situations whereby it looked like Carmelo Hayes was going to answer Sami Zayn's United States Championship Open Challenge, only to be attacked by The Miz. And then last week, I guess Turnabout's is fair play, it looked like The Miz was going to answer Sami Zayn's United States Championship Open Challenge. Instead, it was Carmelo Hayes this time attacking his former tag team partner, returning the favor, which paved the way for Ilya Dragunov to make his return to WWE, answer the challenge, and win the United States Championship. Now, we'll talk about Dragunov a little bit later on, but when it pertains to Carmelo Hayes and The Miz, they've obviously got beef, whether it's one was using the other. Of course, it was The Miz who turned on Carmelo Hayes, but now they can both say, hey, you cost me a shot at the United States Championship. How dare you do that? So I wouldn't be shocked if, kind of continuing on from what we saw last week and what we've seen in recent weeks, if once again we see Carmelo Hayes and The Miz brawling on SmackDown, attacking each other when they're going to be, I guess, on their way to the ring. As of the time recording, a match for either The Miz or Carmelo Hayes hasn't been announced just yet. But that's not to say that one couldn't be announced and we have some continuation. Now, as far as when a match between the two is going to be set for, I don't know if this is really, I suppose, PLE worthy. It would be fantastic to see Carmelo Hayes get spotlight on a PLE. There are still people that are frustrated he's even sort of feuding with The Miz. No disrespect to The Miz. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer with his WWE career and tenure. But there is still this feeling maybe that Carmelo Hayes could and should be doing more on WWE SmackDown, and his booking has been less than proper since he was called up from WWE NXT, particularly when you consider some of the names he was rubbing shoulders with during his time on the developmental brand have had far greater success on the main roster than Carmelo Hayes has had. So I think tonight we probably see a continuation, another brawl between Hayes and The Miz, and maybe an announcement as to when their match is going to take place. Perhaps it's going to be next weekend at Saturday night's main event. That could be a good place for it to happen. It's already a jam-packed and loaded show. Or it could be taking place on a future episode of WWE SmackDown. Maybe this is a kind of thing that maybe could be set for a Survivor Series go-home episode of the show. But that's still several weeks away, and you do sort of wonder, does this feud have mileage like that? Or is it just a kind of made-for-TV kind of feud? I'm leaning more towards that. So don't be shocked tonight if you see more brawling, more fighting between these two former tag team partners. Next up, could we see the continuation of the United States Championship Open Challenge, or is it going to end? This is a really interesting question here, because the United States Championship Open Challenge last week was kind of a setting for chaos, wasn't it? First of all, as I mentioned, you had Carmelo Hayes attacking The Miz. Then you had the return of Ilya Dragunov. He answered Sami Zayn's United States Championship Open Challenge, and then, to really surprise people here, Dragunov ends up winning the United States Championship. Now, it wasn't without a bit of controversy, of course, as Sami Zayn tried to connect with a Helluva Kick. Solo Sikoa distracted him before Dragunov hit the torpedo and an H-bomb to win the United States Championship. So maybe you could see a bit of a situation whereby Sami Zayn could have some sour grapes. Maybe this is the time for a Sami Zayn heel turn, or the beginning of a Sami Zayn heel turn. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out with Ilya Dragunov. But of course, Sami Zayn continued the tradition set by John Cena of the United States Championship Open Challenge. He faced all comers, several high-profile names, but as is the way it goes, if you defend your US Championship every week, eventually you're going to lose it. It happened to John Cena. It's now happened to Sami Zayn. The question is Dragunov going to continue that that tradition? Or is he going to go, look, I've only just come back. I'm not that stupid. Could we see him even perhaps a rematch? Could we have a situation where Dragunov goes, right, I'm going to carry on with the open challenge? And it's answered by Sami Zayn. And just maybe when it looks like Sami Zayn's going to win the championship back just 1 week after he lost it, maybe once again that's where we see Solo Sikoa and his MFTs get involved. We could see a disqualification and maybe it's building to something. Maybe not for Saturday night's main event, but certainly with Survivor Series on the horizon. That means War Games is on the horizon. There's been a lot of discussion about what the War Games match is going to be this year. Is there going to be a men's and a women's one? Is there just going to be one War Games match? There doesn't seem to be teams laid out just yet. I know I've seen people say, well, maybe CM Punk, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, LA Knight, who they would go up against. I'm not sure. So maybe it could be a thing whereby, Sami Zayn and Ilya Dragunov find themselves involved in that match with some factions that we'll talk about in just a bit. But could the brand new United States champion already be set to put his title on the line and continue the open challenge? Or is that just a Sami Zayn thing? We'll have to wait and see how that one plays out this evening, won't we? Next up, speaking of those warring factions, for weeks now, we've seen this continued face-off between the Wyatt Six, which of course currently hold the WWE Tag Team Championship, and Solo Sikoa's newly reunited, improved MFTs. Of course, they're back to full strength, and they're back with a bit of a different kind of turn. They've got the face paint on. Of course, it was similar face paint that was used by the GOD in New Japan Pro Wrestling, but they were involved in that United States Championship match last week, and then afterwards, of course, the Wyatt Six confronted the MFTs that we've continued to see every single week on SmackDown for the last, 3 or 4 weeks, something along those lines. So you feel like once again, we're probably going to have some kind of face-off this evening, or is it going to get physicality? I mean, the WWE Tag Team Championship picture is really occupied by a massive humanity. I mean, the Wyatt Six and the MFTs, they are building what feels like a verge, an all-out war, which would be perfect for War Games, wouldn't it? Neither faction has kind of fired the first shot, shall we say. It's been that kind of tease, face-off. Are they going to get physical? Aren't they going to get physical? Solo Sikoa, meantime, is playing these mind games, and like I say, it's interesting to see kind of, okay, what sort of direction is this going in? Is Sikoa involved in this, or is he going to be involved in the United States Championship picture? Is this going to lead to a War Games match? Are we going to see the Wyatt Six versus Solo Sikoa and his MFTs? Is that how Sami Zayn and Ilya Dragunov could kind of get involved with that too? It's an interesting one, isn't it? And the MFTs have been running roughshod over the last few weeks. I mean, they screwed Shinsuke Nakamura out of the United States Championship opportunity a couple of weeks ago. Maybe Nakamura once again is going to get involved with this whole thing. So something appears to be brewing. I think one thing is for certain. One thing feels pretty definitive, doesn't it? Is that we're going to get some kind of match at some point, and I think we're going to have this continuation of a face-off. Maybe once again, no physicality. I think they might be saving physicality for a future match. They're trying to, I think, build this similar to how you had the Shield versus the Wyatt family back in 2013 or 2014, I believe that was 2014 actually, yes, just before WrestleMania 30 that year, where they continuously kept facing off over and over and over again without touching, and then eventually they would brawl, and it had that fantastic match at Elimination Chamber in 2014. Now, this isn't on the same scale as that. I mean, the Shield and the Wyatt family are two of the greatest factions in modern WWE history, so it's not really on that level yet, but it feels like that's the direction that they're trying to go in, certainly. And finally, of course, we know what is happening when it comes to the WWE Championship as we head to Saturday night's main event. It all stems from last week, because the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, he's kind of in a different space at the moment. Now, he uncharacteristically got himself disqualified last Friday night during his impromptu WWE Championship defense against Drew McIntyre. Rhodes, as I said earlier on, he was expecting to see this number one contenders match between McIntyre and Jacob Fatu, but the Samoan Werewolf was taken out backstage prior to the match getting underway. McIntyre, he denied having anything to do with the assault. Clearly, Cody Rhodes believes differently. As a result, though, of Rhodes' actions last week, where he hit McIntyre with the WWE Championship bout, SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis has ordered him to defend his WWE Championship one more time against the Scottish Warrior at Saturday night's main event. So we know that match is coming up on November 1st. Now, they're both going to be in Tempe, Arizona tonight for SmackDown. So we're probably going to hear more about this WWE Championship match. The fact that there was a disqualification last week would suggest to me some kind of gimmick at Saturday night's main event, some kind of no DQ gimmick. Whether it's a steel cage match to prevent outside interference, not that there really is. Whether it's Falls Count Anywhere, no count out, no disqualification, some kind of next level sort of violent match, I think is where this one's going. Again, they brawled all throughout the arena. That suggests to me, if you're looking at WWE history, that when you have a match end via DQ, the only way to kind of carry it on is to do a match that can't end by DQ or can't end by count out or can't end by some kind of outside interference. So I think we're going to get some kind of gimmick match at Saturday night's main event, and I think that announcement will be made this evening, or at least the challenge will be thrown out for that. So there you go, guys. There are 5 possible major surprises that could take place live tonight on WWE Friday Night SmackDown. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions, your hot takes, as always, in the comment section below. Which ones are more likely than others? Let me know your reactions in the comment section below. You can see right there as well, we're just over 250 subscribers away from 25,000. Of course, that was our goal. It was a new goal this year. Initially, it was going to be 20k. We smashed it over WrestleMania weekend. Now we're on the road to 25k, and we're getting pretty damn close. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Really appreciate everyone for tuning in, as always, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.